by providing them with services and being an ear that they can express themselves to and trust, then we have been able to, within the community, give our number out so that people can reach out to us whenever they had any questions or any issues. And we started learning that people were actually coming into New York City, not only by bus, but they were coming into the Port Authority airports. So whether it's LaGuardia, JFK, Newark, and even MacArthur Airport. So we started learning about this by them calling us and saying, hey, a friend of mine gave me your number. They said, you can help me. I'm here stranded at the airport. And we're like, what? You're in the airport? Oh, where are you? And then we would send Ubers to get them to shelter safely. And as that continued to happen, when people came to New York City, we were the people that they would contact. So they're going to come to New York City regardless. It's up to us whether we're going to accept them and really truly welcome them with love and care and be able to treat them with dignity. And that is what we're doing. It's not about having it both ways. You can't say that New York is a welcoming city, but then complain and say that people who are coming here, there's no space. We have to figure out a solution, and the best solution is for us to coordinate. Everyone has to coordinate so that we could come up with better solutions for the migrants that are coming in. So here we have a situation where we've been spending thousands of dollars on Ubers and Lyfts. I'm an executive director of an organization that I don't get paid a salary for. We're all volunteer-based, and we've been doing this work since day one, since last year in August, and we've been telling the city that the people are coming in through the airports because we learned about it, we heard about it, and they don't believe us. They don't seem to be able to send vans or transportation by way of MTA buses to get the migrants to where they need to go to safely. And so we had to step up and do this work. And unfortunately, we've ran out of funds. So what people have been telling us is we've been bailing out the city, and it's time for us to stop doing that. I didn't want to do that. None of us wanted to do that. But now as we ran out of funds, now we're going to start seeing more people stranded at the airports. So we're trying to sound the alarm early because it's not fair that people at the Port Authority bus terminal are getting transportation, but yet the migrants that are coming in through the airports are being ignored.
Have you spoken to the mayor that this is actually happening, and what is his response been?
So what we have are people in higher positions that understand what we're claiming or what we're saying, but unfortunately it's falling on deaf ears. This is not the first time that we're speaking about this. Whenever we have any opportunity, we're talking about the airports. We're talking about people coming in through all ports of entry, not only the airports, but Megabus, the Chinatown buses, Peter Pan, Greyhound, you name it. But it seems the focus has always been on the Port Authority bus terminal, chartered buses that are coming in by way of Texas, because it's been politicized. These are human beings that are seeking asylum, and however they can get to New York City, they're going to get to New York City. And it is our job to welcome them, and it is our job to provide services for them and to be able to pivot. We've been connecting with other organizations in other cities and other states to try to figure out how we can work on resettlement. That's another thing that they're not talking about, but we have been doing that work on the ground. We're not just sending people up to Rockland County or to other places upstate New York where they're not welcomed. We're sending people to places where they are welcomed, and we even have volunteers that have been housing migrants. We're doing all of this kind of work. There are thousands of apartments in New York City that are vacant. We can start moving people that have been in the shelter system for years into this low-income housing and forcing landlords to accept these vouchers, and then make more room for this so-called emergency or the emergency shelters that the migrants need to be using. They don't want to stay in shelters for the rest of their life. This is just the way that they can get back on their feet. They want to work. We need to provide them with that opportunity, and there are other places that they can get that opportunity.
I guess, like you said, logistically speaking, anyone who's trying to get out of Texas after crossing the border was going to do so. The lady I was speaking to said that they did get some type of financial assistance to book a flight here. And it seems like that will be happening more and more since, bus travel is slow, it's long, it's arduous. Obviously, again, it's a humanitarian crisis, but travel by plane is very quick, especially folks that, on the ground for 2 months trying to get to the Mexico-U.S. border.
That's right. People are seeking asylum. They're running away from situations back home that are dangerous. They're life-threatening. They actually put their lives on the line by crossing all of these countries and with little babies. And once they get to Texas, now they don't have the support system around them. So they're trying to figure out how they can get to places where they're going to be supported as they seek asylum. And when they come to New York City, this is what they're expecting. expecting. Why? Because we do have organizations that are on the ground that care, that are not politicizing this, but humanizing the situation. And that is our organization, as well as other grassroots organizations that have been on the ground since day one, putting this effort out there. So people are going to make their way to airports. In fact, when people get released from detention centers, ICE drops them off at airports, and they just leave them stranded. So regular Americans see them in the airport, they care, they see little babies, and they purchase them a ticket to get to where they need to go. And if they request to come to New York City, this is where they're going to come. They're coming anywhere. It is our duty to take care of them if they do show up at our doorsteps and provide them with the opportunities that they deserve.
And last question I'll ask. So, obviously, LaGuardia, JFK, even Newark, there's transportation options to get people to where, their final destination is beyond just an airport terminal or, this side of the security desk. What are you hoping the city and other sort of both political and immigration coalition groups do to sort of help folks that are coming through the airport, since this hasn't been as looked at by city officials like the Port Authority.
So what I'm hoping is that they take heed to what we've been calling out for the longest, which is saying that people are coming through the airports, and we need people to acknowledge this so that we can get all the help and the attention that on this topic, so that we can get more transportation here, and we don't have to spend out of our pocket and our shoestring budgets and tapping into other organizations and friends to pay for Ubers and Lyfts. Frankly, it's not fair for us, and it's not fair for the migrants that are going to be left stranded now that we're running out of funds. We don't want to do this, but we have to leave them like this, but we're going to spend some time with them, we're going to sit with them, we're going to talk with them, and we're calling out for help. We're calling out for the city to provide the transportation for them so that what is going to happen doesn't happen, right? This is a prerequisite of what can happen coming up in the next few days, next few weeks. If the city doesn't step up, we're going to start seeing more migrants spread around different airports, stranded and abandoned throughout the city. And we don't want that to happen, so we're calling it out right now and hoping that they listen and take heed to these calls so that we can have proper transportation for the migrants that are coming here. And then we can continue our process of assessing the situation and figuring out how we can best serve them, whether here in New York City or elsewhere. We need to coordinate, we need to connect with each other, and we need to communicate. That is not happening right now on all levels. City agencies are not communicating with each other, let alone city is not communicating with grassroots organizations that are truly on the front lines, pivoting and coming up with solutions. We need to make that happen. You can't have it both ways. You can't say New York City is a welcoming city, but then say that we're running out of space. You had plenty of time to plan, and part of that planning has to do with communicating with the people that are on the ground, coming up with those solutions. So let's get to work. Let's do this together as a city. Let's be an example to the rest of the country and the world. And us, the grassroots organizations, are leading the way. Support us. Don't create more silos and continue to make this a political thing. Stop stroking your ego. Stop making this about me, and let's get back to what Muhammad Ali said. Me, we. This is our situation. Get away from the ego system. Get with this ecosystem.
All right. That's everything on my end. Can I trouble you for Spanish?
Oh,
Okay. Muchas gracias para todo. Okay, dígame qué pasó aquí en los aeropuertos LaGuardia y JFK y Newark.
So, mi nombre es Pau Amalu, yo soy el director ejecutivo de Artista, Atleta y Activista. Estamos aquí en el aeropuerto LaGuardia, que es uno de los aeropuertos en Nueva York, con JFK y Newark Airport, y hay otro que se llama MacArthur Airport también. Estos son terminales que la gente llegan, no solamente llegan por bus, están llegando por avión. Y nosotros estamos poniendo una luz brillante en esta situación para que la ciudad empiece a ayudar a los migrantes que están llegando. Porque en realidad nosotros, la organización sin fines de lucro, Artistas, Atletas y Activistas, ya gastamos como miles de dólares ayudando con los Ubers y los Lyfts, y solamente queremos que la ciudad haga las cosas bien. Si ellos están teniendo transportación para los que llegan en bus, deben de tenerlo también para los que llegan en avión, porque si no vamos a tener un montón de gente en la ciudad de Nueva York tirado por ahí sin saber dónde van a llegar, porque la ciudad no está haciendo el esfuerzo y no está haciendo las cosas como deben de hacer. Ellos tienen que entender que si la gente está llegando, tenemos que darle los servicios que ellos merecen y recibirlo con amor, no actuando como si esto no está pasando. La gente van a llegar, si te gusta o no te gusta. Tú no lo puedes tener las dos maneras. Tú no puedes decir que Nueva York es una ciudad santuaria y te damos la bienvenida, pero entonces en este lado tú estás diciendo no, que no vengan, que no hay espacio. Pero entonces en el otro lado está diciendo, oh sí, estamos abriendo este sitio, estamos teniendo oportunidad para trabajo, para la escuela. Entonces diciendo, oh no, eso no trabaja así. La ciudad tiene que coordinar, la ciudad tiene que comunicar con las organizaciones sin fines de lucro que están aquí y nosotros estamos tratando de llamar la atención de algo que se puede poner muy feo si ellos no vienen con la transportación para ayudar a los migrantes que están llegando en los aeropuertos. Porque ahorita van a llegar más que estaban llegando ahorita.
Más fácil viajar del avión y muchas familias tienen ayuda con boletos en Texas, Arizona, viene aquí, es más fácil.
Sí, lo que está pasando también es que cuando la gente lo dejan ir por la detención, cuando ICE lo dejan ir, lo traen para los aeropuertos y lo dejan ahí tirado, sin boletos, sin oportunidad de viajar. Y gracias a Dios que hay organizaciones como la sin fines de lucro y hay americanos también que lo ven en los aeropuertos, que tienen corazón y le compran los boletos para llegar para acá. Eso es una cosa que va a seguir pasando. Y si no hay transportación de bus, el avión es una manera para ellos llegar más fácil para donde tienen que ir. Y entonces, cuando ellos están en el aeropuerto, ellos van a ir para donde quieren ir. Y si quieren venir para Nueva York, eso es lo que va a pasar. Y no tenemos muchos bus que estaban llegando en Nueva York, empezaron de nuevo la semana pasada. Pero desde agosto, el aeropuerto no ha parado recibiendo los migrantes. Aquí llegan más de 100 a 200 personas diarios, no solamente en este aeropuerto, en todos los otros aeropuertos. Entonces, tú tienes que reconocer eso y poner el esfuerzo para ayudar a transportar los migrantes para que no estén perdidos en la ciudad. Es el trabajo de la ciudad.
¿Y cómo el alcalde Adams respuesta cuando diga él sobre más inmigrantes llega aquí del aeropuerto?
Tú sabes, una de las cosas que están diciendo el alcalde o la persona que está hablando para la ciudad de Nueva York, le están echando la culpa a las organizaciones sin fines de lucro diciendo que nosotros somos las que estamos trayendo los migrantes para acá, para Nueva York. Nosotros somos las que estamos recibiendo los migrantes con amor, como está supuesto ser. Le estamos hablando de los servicios que hay aquí en Nueva York, pero también le estamos diciendo que hay otra oportunidad en otros sitios también. Pero el problema es que la ciudad quiere controlar la historia, el narrative, y quieren pintarlo como no es. Como una organización chiquita como nosotros y como otra vamos a traer miles de personas. ¿De qué dinero tenemos? La única cosa que estábamos haciendo es recibiendo a la gente con amor, haciendo el trabajo como es, como está supuesto ser. Si tú eres un líder, si tú eres una ciudad que dice que te le da la bienvenida a todo el mundo, entonces vamos a ver eso en acción, no solamente palabras.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Yo quisiera que la ciudad entienda que si ellos no quieren ayudar a la situación, salte del medio y dejan a nosotros, las organizaciones sin fines de lucro, que hagan el trabajo. Pero ellos están dando mucho dinero a gente de los hoteles, de los developers y todo eso. Hay dinero que pueden ir para transportación. Ellos pueden dar dinero a organizaciones como nosotros que estamos haciendo este trabajo o traer bus y vans para que la gente puedan llegar donde tienen que ir sano. Pero si ellos no quieren hacer eso, entonces no le echen la culpa a nosotros, solamente coordinen con nosotros. Hablen con nosotros, comunican con nosotros, para nosotros poder ayudar a los seres humanos que están llegando aquí. ¿Okay? Eso es lo que tenemos que hacer, no echándole la culpa a los migrantes que están llegando aquí, pero recibiéndolo con esas manos abiertas para ayudarles con la oportunidad que ellos merecen.
Muchas gracias.